Thank you for joining us. We will begin the service with opening meditation. There are many different ways of living as a Buddhist. There are various teachings and practices, and not one deductive system, not one fixed creed. Whatever teaching or practice we encounter that leads us to appreciate the deep oneness of all things is Buddhism. Any viewpoint we adopt is Buddhistic if it loosens our sense of being separate and isolated, if it sensitizes us to the profound interconnectedness of all living things. This is from Reverend Gibbs, one of his essays, What is Buddhism?, in his book, Becoming Buddhists, Becoming Buddhas, and Liberating All Beings.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Wear your masks when you are in close contact with people. We are recording this service this morning to be previewed on June 20th of 2021. We're going to mention our high school and college graduates. And let me say now, because I won't bring it up again much, Happy Father's Day. Thank you for joining us. We're going to chant the Juseige. I will begin by chanting Shishinrai, reliance upon the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then hope you may join me for the chanting of the Juseige. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Shishin Kei Namo Shochiu Fu Shishin Kei Namo Shochiu Ho Shishin Kei Namo Shochiu So Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu. Busatsu, Daimuryo, Jukyo, Juseige, Gagon to Segan, Hishimu Jodo, Shigan Hu Manroku, Seifujyo Sogaku, Gao Muryoko, Huidai Seishu, Fusai Sho Bingu, Seifujyo Shogak, Gashidyo Butendo, Myoshoto Jippo, Kukyo Mi Shomon, Seifujyo Shogaku, Ryokujin Shonen, Joeshu Bongyo, Shigumu Jodo, Isho Tenin Shi, Jinriki and Daiko, Ushomu Thaido, Shoujo San Kumyo, Kosai Shu Yakunan, Kaihichi Egen, Meshi Kun Moan, Hei Sokusho Akudo, Tudaten Shumon, Kotojo Mandoku, Iolo Jippo, Nichigaten Shujuki, tenko onfugen, ishu kai hodo, koteku dokuho, jōdai shuchu, seppo shishiku, kuyo ithaya buten, kusokushu tokuhon, ganeshten joman, tokui sangayo, nyobuten mugechi, tudaten mi husho, gangaku eriki, toshisai shoson, shiganya koka, daisen no kando, koku sho tenin, to chinmyo ke. Namandabu, 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 namandabu. Gani shikudoku, byodo sei isai, dohon monai, shin ojo on koku. Namandabu, 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 namandabu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namandabutsu. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu, Namandabutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandabutsu. Well, again, good morning, and thank you for joining us for this service, which we are preparing to be previewed on Sunday, June 20th of 2021. Happy Father's Day. Now, 2 weeks ago, I talked a little bit about my wife and I going out for our son Sho's college graduation out in Lexington, Virginia. And this morning, I would like to congratulate all the graduates, all the known graduates of high school and college for the year 2021. Everyone who is connected to our temple that we know of who has graduated this year. And so, allow me to hereby congratulate, firstly, Lindsay Hirano, who graduated from South Pasadena High School and who is now going on to study at New York University, NYU, where we expect her to continue her skilled playing of volleyball, as well as pursuing her academic studies, which at this point looks like they're going to focus on computer science, at least at the beginning. Congratulations to Lindsay Hirano. Our other known high school graduate is Lucas Lee, who graduated from Harvard Westlake. He received the Amy Utsunomiya Award for being of service to the community. And some of our members may remember that he received his Eagle Scout Award earlier after the restoration work he did on the downstairs area of our temple, quite substantially improving conditions here for us. Lucas Lee will be going to the University of Pennsylvania. Those were our two known high school graduates. We had 5 college graduates amongst our Sangha, amongst our community. Emmy Powers received her Bachelor of Science from Cal Poly San Luis. She received that degree magna cum laude, and she majored in journalism with a minor in psychology. Lori Meza received her Bachelor of Arts from Willamette University, and she was presented with a certificate honoring her for her studies in Japan, which were done at Tokyo International University in Kawagoe. Thirdly, Lonnie Masumoto received her Bachelor of Arts in Economics from the University of California, San Diego. She also completed a minor in business. Sho Michael Gibbs received his Bachelor of Science from Washington and Lee University, granted summa cum laude, and he was awarded the Edith and Harold Reese Prize in Physics. Madison Hirano received her degree summa cum laude from USC Marshall School of Business. She also completed a minor in applied analytics. Major in business, Marshall School at USC, and a minor in applied analytics. Congratulations to Madison Hirano, Sho Michael Gibbs, Lonnie Masumoto, Lori Meza, Emmy Powers, Lucas Lee, and Lindsay Hirano, our graduates this year. I congratulate these young adults for their rather considerable accomplishments. I congratulate their families. We take the time to honor these young people because they are part of our Sangha, part of our community. They are treasured members of our community. And community is a treasure. The Buddhist community, the Sangha, is one of the central supports for our living as Buddhists. Our community is so important to our religion that it is considered to be one of the 3 treasures of the truth. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the community, the enlightened Buddha, and the Dharma, the teachings of the enlightened Buddhas. The other 2 jewels that guide our way, again, the Buddha and the Dharma, I will only discuss briefly this morning, as I really want to emphasize the Sangha, the importance of community. The Sangha, the Buddhist community, intersects with, cross-pollinates, and commingles with various other communities which we belong to. We're going to have a kind of a food sales fundraiser this Saturday. Due to COVID restrictions, it was not advertised. I'm not advertising it now. It's all sold out, but we're going to sell some chicken teriyaki this Saturday. Normally, and normalcy is on its way, this would be a very good opportunity to see how our community interfaces with other related communities. And indeed, the Pasadena Buddhist Temple community interconnects with the Japanese American community. It intersects with the community of all persons of good intentions. Our community, our Sangha, intersects with that group of people who like to buy food to take out, one of the basic communities I belong to. These communities all come together for these food sales events. Community is important. In one of the early sutras, Shakyamuni Buddha is reported to have discussed the nature of communities. Please allow me to read from the Sokeyan Sutra. The Sokeyan Sutra shows the Buddha telling us about 3 kinds of communities. Reading from the scripture. The Buddha, assuming human form, by his wisdom and compassion, illumines the world. In this light, people find themselves as well as others, and are glad to establish human fellowship and harmonious relations. Thousands of people might live in a community, but it is not one of real fellowship until they know each other mutually and have sympathy for one another. A true community has faith and wisdom that illumine it. It is a place where people know and trust one another and where there is social harmony. In fact, harmony is the life and the real purport of true community. And now the Buddha tells us, of communities there are three kinds. First, there are those that are organized on the basis of power, wealth, or the authority of leaders. Secondly, there are communities that are organized because of its convenience, because of the convenience of the members, and they will continue to exist, those communities, as long as the members satisfy their conveniences and do not quarrel. And thirdly, there are those communities that are organized with some good teaching. And that good teaching at the center of the community produces harmony, and harmony is the very life of such a community. And of course, this third of these communities is the only true community, for in it members live in one spirit, from which the unity of spirit and various kinds of virtue will arise. In such an organization, in such a community, there will prevail harmony, satisfaction, and happiness. Thus spoke the Buddha, again in the Sokean Sutta. Really, there are even more distinctions we might make in the sorts of communities that we participate in. However, these three categories of organizations that were specifically mentioned and distinguished by Shakyamuni Buddha are worth our attention. So allow me to comment briefly on those three kinds of community. Firstly mentioned were communities organized around power, wealth, and the authority of leaders. Sound familiar? Some of you are picturing a red cap right now, but not me. I'm thinking of the bullies in grammar school. I am reminded of the bullies in grammar school, and their leader in my grammar school and so many grammar schools were the kids who were rich and athletic. Their leader in the school I went to was rich and athletic, and that's why the other rich kids and jocks congregated around him. Those sorts of groupings tend not to remain strong and vibrant. Groupings around rich, powerful individuals. I'm talking about 1956, but let me tell you about 2017. 4 years ago, I attended my 50th year high school reunion, and that guy, Theodore, was there. I was feeling kind of bad because I drive down to Fresno for this banquet, but I can't stay to the end. I got to leave a little early because I got to drive back to Pasadena that evening from Fresno, and then take a flight out of Burbank 7 o'clock the next morning to go to Pasadena. So I'm feeling like, gee, I really should participate more in this. You know, they're going to hang out later, and then there's going to be a luncheon the next day, but I can't go there. I'm feeling kind of bad. I really should be more part of things. Then I look over at this guy, Theodore, and you know what he's doing? He is now the proud owner of a Morgan Stanley brokerage. And he is leaning over the table, drawing charts, trying to sell investment plans to his childhood friends. Some of these people he'll never see again. Most of us he hasn't seen in 50 years, and he is investing his time in this multimillionaire in trying to sell more investment plans to his childhood friends. His community really was just based on power and wealth. What a waste of this community event. This 50th high school reunion. What a loser, right? He's got $30 million. He's still a loser. He should have talked with his old friends. He should have talked with them about the old times instead of trying to sell them investment packages. He should have talked to them about movies, about sports, anything except trying to sell them something. Instead, Theodore wasted the opportunity to try to, and is trying to increase his wealth a little. Now, there's an idea that you hear from many Buddhist teachers, but I want to quote the Tao Te King, the Taoist scriptures on this point. You've heard this from many a Buddhist teacher, but the Tao Te King, chapter 33, these sayings are really old, 8, 10, 12, 20,000 years old, from way back. And in the chapter 33 of the Tao Te King, it says, "He who knows that he has enough is rich." Well, that's the truth, isn't it? When will Theodore ever know that he has enough? What's he got, 20 million, 30 million? He's still squirreling around at his 50th year high school reunion trying to sell investment packages. And nobody knew him as Theodore, as you might imagine. This is what comes of communities based on wealth, power, and authority. They don't hold together harmoniously. They are not nurturing. They're not productive. The second sort of community that the Buddha discussed was based on convenience, as it's translated. We might say shared interests. Some communities are based on shared interests, right? I joined a bowling league in 1962, and then in 1968 I was kicked out of the bowling leagues for having long hair. I had spent all the money that I earned from newspaper delivery routes and from being a scorekeeper in tournaments on practicing the game of bowling at Blackstone Bowl. And I was their most accomplished youth bowler. At the time they kicked me out of the junior bowling leagues, I was averaging 190. This was 1968. That was considered high back then. The conditions changed, and within 5 years you couldn't have been on the regional all-star team with a 190 average. You have to be in the 200s. But I was as good as they get for that sport in the Central Valley at that time, and they still kicked me out of junior leagues for having long hair. I wasn't using drugs or alcohol, some of the other boys were. I just had long hair, but to the owner of that bowling alley, Blackstone Bowl, Don Dickinson, long hair was unacceptable. To heck with him and to heck with that community. The Buddhist Sangha is of the third type outlined by the Buddha. The Pasadena Buddhist temple community is organized around good teachings. Good teachings at its center. And there is harmony in the very life of this temple community. The good teachings we are organized around include most especially the fundamental, joyous unity of all life. All life is joyously, lovingly united. This is our teaching. There are many implications of this teaching of the deep unity of all life. There are positive, nurturing, intriguing implications of the unity of all life, the oneness of all being, and we try to draw those out, those implications, in these Dharma messages at these services week after week. Today, however, the only implication of the deep oneness of our lives that I wish to draw out is that we need community. Living in communities is inevitable for us. We must live in communities. Human beings will and do participate in communities. So choose your communities carefully. Choose your communities well. Choose your communities with an eye to shared values, not just convenience, genuine shared values. I hope you will continue to participate in this community, the Pasadena Buddhist Temple Sangha. If you will, we'd love to have you as part of us. This is a small community, but a warm one. For me, the Pasadena Buddhist Temple community is a treasure. Find communities that you can treasure. Find communities that treasure you. Our community is one Jodo Shinshu Buddhist Sangha amongst about 100 of them here in North America, about 100 Jodo Shinshu Buddhist temples in North America. Including followers in Japan, there's about 25 million Jodo Shinshu Buddhists in the world, so our community is pretty big. In reality, we form a community with all of the other 200 schools of Buddhism, and altogether, that makes about 1 billion of us, Buddhists, on this planet, here on Earth. And that's just those who know that they're Buddhist. In truth, we form a community with all living things. Our community is really big. If you are already part of the Buddhist Sangha, thank you for being with us. If you haven't joined us yet, please do. Find a wholesome community. Finding a wholesome community and finding your own deepest and truest self go hand in hand. Thank you for your attention this morning. Thank those families who nurtured their children to their graduations of high school and college. Thank those fathers who helped to raise those children and those mothers who helped to raise those children. Thank you for listening to to this temple. Happy Father's Day. Congratulations to the graduates. And if I may ask, those who wish to, in closing, join me in saying the Buddha's name a few times. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.
We will now end the service with a closing meditation. Thank you so much to all of you for viewing our service. It will be very short. Each morning, we are born again. What we do today is what matters most, the Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much.
I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. May I think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link on Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.